Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the wild world of writing, editing, and punctuation. This is Chris Fizak. Welcome. Whether you are joining me on Periscope or on Twitter, I'm excited that you are here. Today, we are going to focus on editing, and one of the biggest pet peeves people sometimes look at are word counts. Yay, thanks for the love, everybody. When you are going through your manuscript or your business communications, or you know what, even your latest text message, there are always words that we can cut out of there, so that's what we're going to focus on here today. But first, while we're talking about words, aka Microsoft Word, one thing I'm sure you already know, but just in case you don't, let's talk about the power of Control plus F. In other words, a way to search your entire document for a certain word that maybe you use just a little bit too much. So, what would those words be? Maybe in your entire book or presentation or whatever it is, maybe that word is thing. Is that the word you really should be using? Or is thing perhaps the word that you use when you can't really think of the word that you actually should be using? So often we just stick in thing, or another one of my favorites, stuff. What's the point of these words? These are those filler words that could be so much better if you just give yourself a moment to reconsider. So use that Control F. Search your entire document for thing, stuff. Replace them with something better. Suddenly, the angels are singing and it's so much better. Okay, so thing, stuff. Other things we can do to make our writing better. Search your documents for the word suddenly. Have you ever noticed that suddenly something gets so much more exciting if you use the word suddenly? Suddenly there's pacing. Suddenly there's action. Suddenly the life is on the line. Suddenly. Why do we use this word so much? I highly, highly recommend looking at how you can possibly use your words, your actions, your emotions, your body language to create that sense of pacing without this word, suddenly. Strike it when you can, please. Same exact thing goes for the word then. And then. And then. And then. So exciting. I know. I get so excited about and then. However, hold back. Search your entire manuscript for the word then, and I bet you can replace it or just drop it most of the time. Similarly, on that sense of pacing, finally. I understand, but you need to create a sense of pacing beyond the suddenly, finally. Another favorite, meanwhile. These are words that we use that fake our pacing, that show that there are other things that we're juggling at this exact same moment. Most of the times, strike this word. And speaking of segues, anyway, this is not a segue word that you should have in your narration. It shows a little bit of the laziness on the writer side. Try to skip it when you can. I know sometimes you want to use it in dialogue because you want to start out that dialogue just naturally, how we naturally speak, such as, well, oh, all of these different variations. Now, when you have all of these different variations of anyway and well, these are just filler words, dialogue, narration. This is supposed to be better than how we speak. This is fiction, be it nonfiction, poetry, whatever it is. Don't just use filler. That's not what it's supposed to be, so strike those words. Other phrases, they're little pet peeves of mine that are just examples of a writer not quite taking the time to do it justice. It was. Not since it was a dark and stormy night was this actually a phrase that you should be using. Do that powerful Control plus F when you're in Microsoft Word. Search your entire document for it was. And all of a sudden you can find all of these sentences. It was sunny. Oh, come on. You can do so much better than that. It was Tuesday. Come on. You can do better. Take that it was, flip it on its head, strike that it. It's not serving any purpose. You can do better. A close cousin of it was there was. You search your entire document for it was and there was, replace those sentences, turn them up on their heads, write something more eloquent, more direct. You can do better than starting sentences with there was. I bet if you searched your entire manuscript for these sentences, you could probably strike 99% of them, and suddenly your prose is elevated, specific, beautiful, succinct, and to the point. Get rid of these phrases. Another one. This is another one that appears via email and text messages, and it comes out of our mouths all the time. I just think you need to get rid of just 99% of the time. Look through your manuscripts. Maybe it's your characters saying it in their dialogue. Maybe it's you saying it in your narration. What is the point of this word? It's filler. It almost never has a purpose that strengthens any sentences. Similar, and you know this one's coming. Very. You know that, what is it? The path to hell is paved with adverbs. Thank you, Stephen King. Said very well. I don't know about the path to hell, but I do know that very is kind of a pointless word. If going back to Dead Poets Society, think of that great Robin Williams scene where he's yelling at everybody in the classroom, jumping on desks, singing and yelping and all the rest. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, go watch Dead Poets Society. It's absolutely fabulous. Find that word very in your manuscript and realize maybe it shouldn't be there at all. Maybe it's an excuse to use that next word and change it. Make it a better word. You can do better. Thanks for the love, folks. I know very is a pet peeve of mine. It's a pet peeve of many people. Same note. Really? 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 Come on. You search your document for the word really. Do you need it? Do you? Really? I'm not sure you do. Okay, here we'll get into a couple little subtleties that people don't always realize. Just clutter up, word up their manuscript, word up their writing, whatever you have to be doing. Let's just talk about the simplicity of up and down. Let's see, if you're going to stand up, do you need that word up? Maybe a character could just stand. There's nothing that you need extra there. If you're going to, if you're going to sit down, or you could just sit, you could walk up, down. Sometimes you need it, but most of the time you can just look at those ups and downs, and really you don't need those words. These are just extra fillers that are just clunking up our beautiful writing. And I know you guys are all so talented. You just need to have that moment, to have that excuse to let yourself shine. And this is just junk that fills it up. Speaking of shining, our characters, when we write them, you know what they love to do? They love to smile. I love to smile. Characters love to smile. First drafts of manuscripts love to smile. This is where characters are happy and they smile. And something happens and they smile. And they look at each other and they smile. Oh my goodness, how many times can one person smile in a single manuscript? First drafts. Oh, we're so happy. We can think about other ways to show emotion and happiness and joy besides smiling. Yes, I'm smiling as I say it. Please strike your smiling 9 times out of 10. Think about other ways we can convey emotions. You can do it. Similar things that people do way too much in early drafts of manuscripts. People sigh so much, but really do they? Do they sigh as much as they'd sigh in early drafts of fiction? I'm not convinced they do. It's very dramatic. And it's a great way to show emotion, or a letdown, or all sorts of other things. But look, go back to that first note I gave you about CTRL F in your Microsoft Word document and many other things. Search for these words. Strike them from your manuscript. Think about how you can rework them. Okay, I have a couple more for you here, all right, before we go. All right, looking. There are many ways to show body language and movement between characters besides looking at one another, or gazing, or turning. That's the next one on my list. I'm getting ahead of myself. But think about those gazes and that eye contact, all of that. And yes, that is a wonderful way to move and show atmosphere. You want to get beyond just your narration, your atmosphere. You want to get beyond just the dialogue. But go beyond smiling, go beyond sighing, going beyond having characters look at each other and turn to each other. And oh my goodness, winking. How often do you really see somebody wink? Really? I'm not sure I really see people wink on a daily basis, a weekly basis. Maybe I'm just not hanging out with the right folks, the right characters. But really? Winking? How often do people wink? I know it can show confidence, but there are other ways to show confidence besides winking. Use it sparingly, folks. Okay, couple last pet peeves here. Oh no, someone can't even wink. I am so sorry, person who just commented that. I'm sorry. My son's actually working on the same thing. Okay, thinking to oneself. This is a turn of phrase we write all the time. It just flows naturally when we're writing. Thinking to oneself. He thought to oneself. She thought to herself. Here's my question. Unless you have some sort of telepathic powers, is it possible to think to anyone else except for yourself? I don't think it is. When I think, I am always thinking to myself. So if you're writing things and you're writing he thought to himself, got it. It's just wordy. It has no point. Everyone, and I know this is a huge literary agent and editor pet peeve, stop thinking to yourself, to herself, to himself. Just think. That's okay. No more himself or herself there. Okay. Very last tip when we're talking about editing, making the absolute most of every single word in your document, going back to that search functionality within your manuscript or Scrivener or whatever it is that you happen to be using and loving. Okay, here's my favorite tip. And I'm not going to admit how many words I once pulled out of a manuscript using this tip. It's kind of embarrassing, so I highly recommend it. Use a search in your document for LY space. Okay, if that looks like an underscore, it's not an underscore. LY space. Why is that space important? Because if you search for your manuscript for LY space, you are going to catch all of those lovely adverbs that end with LY. And of course, there'll be a space before your next word. If you really want to get thorough, you could do LY period, LY comma, all of that stuff, just to make sure you get it all. But if you search your manuscript for LY, you're going to find all of those adverbs that maybe hell is paved with, according to Stephen King at least. Okay, so that's about it for me today. We'll be doing more of these writing tips on Periscope. If you're following me on Twitter, awesome. If you're following this via Periscope, even better. I love all the little hearts and comments coming up here. If you don't follow me at all, I highly recommend you check out my website, chrisbzak.com. Follow me along on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Periscope, Twitter, wherever you happen to find me. I'd be excited to meet you and hear about your writing. Thanks so much. Have a happy writing day, folks. Bye-bye.